As it stands, the title for the MA project is as follows: The Application of a Brand Identity in Interior Design. Why? To understand how interior solutions visually communicate the brand's identity. How? By utilizing the array of skills industry professionals have acquired to offer volumized solutions which are complex and well-rounded. This is in combination with restoration design as a tool to create attachment, value, and relatable touchpoints. The sector is to be determined, but there is a favor towards a possible business proposal and ultimate corporate space. The supporting topics are interdisciplinary collaboration and restoration in interior design. In short summary, architectural interior spaces alike have the potential to succumb to the pressures of modern society in which fast-paced mass production is the norm. The expectation placed on designers to produce is not conducive to the development of original ideas. This is often seen in the corporate industry where spaces change with trends. This sad reality has no reason to exist, as every company has developed a brand identity designed to set them apart from other subsequent competitions. Correctly using the potential of various design professions to collectively push to publish original ideas is an important management of assets currently being underutilized by a number of design houses. Collaborating on a project here and a project there is not a way of further thinking, but rather a present short-sightedness, knee-jerk reaction with a temporary band-aid solution to the firm's shortfall in that particular skill set. Very often, original concepts are informed by past prototypes. However, by moving beyond improvement and into innovation, it's a big step for the end user who has not traveled the design journey as intimately. Therefore, the idea of attaching meaning through restoration design not only informs the material selection, construction method, look and feel, technological marriage, environmentally conscious thoughts, deliberate in style, but makes the project relevant and relatable. The problem here is the following. Design is not conformist. A problem facing a number of design solutions developed depending on the context and client. Modern seems to wear a similar uniform across the design solutions innovated. The main objectives of the project in brief. Building a foundation on which a personal business venture may be built. This requires the exploration into the skeletal dynamics of a firm's prospective business proposal. Working to create a project that is personally fruitful and academically informed is motivational, long-term, and grounds the aims and objectives in realistic benchmarks. Developing a method of thinking which combines personal understanding of both marketing and interior design allows for the collaboration of personal strengths. With this project, developing a pilot project from which a corporate clientele attracted can first-hand understand the dynamic regarding the design approach to marry the brand's identity and space developed is a crucial objective. With in-house one-stop shopping being a concept in the pipelines of becoming a possibility, having a tangible example to manage corporate expectations will play in the project's favor when selling originality. The main objectives: how a company can use the brand's identity within the various space types associated with it to create a visual connection or recognition, and in turn, a competitive advantage. Investigate how design professionals may engage with one another optimally to develop original concepts for brands. And lastly, how to merge between buildings with history that can be revitalized using modern technology to create meaning, relevance, and understanding between the user and space. The supporting objectives. Firstly, the importance of having a single voice between space and marketing content. Slow design as a method of creating original concepts. Client and project profiling as a means of selecting projects which give the designer the space and time to create whatever the budget. A once-off spatial design is complete. How marketing, graphic design, and marketing content can act as feeders to interior design, architecture, and custom fabrications in the long term. and lastly, the environmental benefits of repurposing an existing site. Background and motivation for this project. Industry experience and observation of what is being currently unveiled has become monochromatic, a copy and paste of what once was an original idea, the opposite of what design thinking and creativity should be publishing. Seeing the odd interior and architectural beauty developed by the few design forerunners as a breath of fresh air which comes along every once in a while should not be the norm. The industry has the platform and potential to take the user's breath away and be saturated with design enthrallment. Large or small scale budget, design should be innovative. In order to sell a product or service, it requires a level of relativity and singularity. Designers seem more restricted in a design solution outcome in a time where product selection options and technological availability is at its height, by following this great trend and the likes of. Statement of concept and theme. The end design most likely revolves around a personal future business proposal, as mentioned. As a designer, the opportunity to create interdisciplinary collaboration role intersections and design the functionality of the space, while situating the office in a building which is representative of the restoration meets modernity element, is a means of visually capturing the essence of the company for the client, moderating expectations. For a business and client perspective, putting together a corporate space which in turn would somewhat represent a pilot project is a low risk partnership investment. Concept and themes looked at, the first of which, branding identity. This is the incorporation of a brand ethos into a visual communication tool directed at the consumer or client. The second, interdisciplinary collaboration, looking at how to best acknowledge and make use of the strengths of various professions and at what level these strengths will be interacting with one another by project, client, and professional profiling. Restoration design being the third. This is understanding how the consumer engages with the space through service design will give a good indication of which elements of the old and which elements of the new best complement each other for the optimal development of meaning and attachment. Looking at context, theoretical, critical, and historical. Theoretical and critical to begin. In order to put a discerning project forward, understanding the debates around what lends meaning to a project is critical. Which touch points with regards to interdisciplinary collaboration and restoration design is considered most effective and why? When looking to create attachment to branding identity and its implementation into interior spaces. Very often it is subjective topics which stir the most controversy. In this particular project, the two informing subtopics each hold an element of subjectivity. Possible angles to investigate are project and client profiling, design psychology around the nostalgia, and service design around collaboration. Looking at historical, all of which may subsequently link to the implementation of material selection, the restoration of natural old meets new, how does this happen? The specifications, the authenticity versus replication, and the installation methods, this original practice versus artisanal processes. In the design industry, the role of historical development in the form of prototyping, design adjustments, and experimentation has informed present-day innovation. Build upon the knowledge gained through the past trial and error. Furthermore, history has the capability to promote connection, nostalgic ties, and meaning. In the concept outlined using existing sites with historical characteristics in conjunction with learned knowledge from secondary research to date, the method of molding present and past should become apparent. Looking at the context, social, ethical, and global. First off, ethical. From an ethical perspective, looking at sites which are pre-existing and using history and stories to create a harmonious juxtaposition to the current function is environmentally conscious as well as allows for the repurposing of materials and site nuances. Looking at the global, internationally, the concept of interior design accommodates creative expansion for a number of factors. These factors need for understanding in order to initiate the transition from monochromatic replicated safe design in corporate spaces. Leading by example is a contributing factor to the project, taking a business proposal format in which the client can see what is offered as well as the potential strengths of a one voice business front. From a social outlook, the psychology of what creates connection between places and people is one avenue of exploration when trying to further understand what the design requires to create value in the eyes of the user. From the design perspective, looking at the client and the project profiling is an important topic as very often projects are selected at random, with the main motivator being financial. Understanding how value is created for both the user and designer is a social aspect this project will look to explore. Looking at the context of contemporary professional practice within the discipline, contemporary, the design profession seems to operate on a number of parallel platforms. Unfortunately, with businesses operating unilaterally, the project is dissected into different portfolios, each run by separate companies and very often lacking the uniformity of a strong brand identity. With a single driver with complete knowledge of the project, informed by the various disciplines collaborating, the outcome is more likely to demonstrate uniformity and offer convenience to the client. From a business perspective, interior design has a limited lifespan. However, offering the client the opportunity to develop new marketing campaigns and graphics, which are always relevant to the business model, material, and finishes, even once off-site, even once on-site scope is complete, the client remains in the company portfolio on a maintenance and above and below line marketing basis. Business ventures similar to these exist internationally and will be further explored in the case studies analyzing, making reference to Module 2, Creative Industries Global Perspectives Contact and Network List. Looking at the professional context, considering past qualifications, this topic allows for both interior design and marketing to merge within one formula in which the solution is a possible personal business venture. The process, materials, and techniques. The relationship between modern, simple, less is more application, and material choice, technological advances in material development and composition, and historical, using the materials in the most natural, exposed manner, organic to the touch when engaged with, slow design principles, restoring materials pre-existing to their original formation. High contrast between the two material choices, the colder, cleaner material, examples metal and glass, versus the warmer, natural materials, examples plaster, paint, brick, concrete, and timber. The high contrast between two material applications, the modern, technologically aided industrial seamless joinery process versus the artisanal, hand-molded, analog technique, natural, organic practices, as well as the high contrast between the two material site engagement methods, working on site juxtaposed versus working with the site. The digital montage is understanding new media as a means of creating imprinted graphics on the space, marketing content. Moving away from the stagnant nature of print media will further translate the concept of space and marketing having a uniform voice. The brand identity created through the graphic content projected, morphing and adapting with the company's progression over time in the hopes of remaining relevant, is a tool that has the capacity to help the interior design change over a short period of time. Looking at the methodology, in particular the primary and secondary research for the project, focusing first on secondary research, mainly literature review. This is sourcing knowledge assets, which is crucial to deepening personal understanding regarding the multitude of possibilities and perspectives from which solutions may be developed, restricted, and refined by. The resources and avenues of exploration and key ideas surrounding the main topics include visual communication, brand identity, interdisciplinary collaboration, service design, semantic transformation, and client profiling. Below subtopic 2, the avenues of exploration include interdisciplinary collaboration, knowledge transfer, knowledge and asset management, the aesthetic of interaction design practice, business marketing and management tactics, professional discipline identification for best fit, collaboration and networking. For subtopic 2, restoration design, the avenues of exploration include interactive design, the aesthetics of interaction design practice, value creation, managing value, interdisciplinary collaboration, restoration and repurposing, collaboration with modern interpretation, slow design, service design, environmental design, and council for heritage laws. With regards to case studies and examples, the project will aim to identify 3 case studies as reference points regarding branding, interdisciplinary collaboration, as well as restoration. 3 case studies as reference points regarding the main topic and subtopics are as follows. Option 1 is the La Fabrica Barcelona by Ricardo Boffel, as well as the Styler in Cape Town by Heatherwick Studios and Van der Merwe Architects, which focuses on interdisciplinary collaboration of function. Option 2, the Old Chapel Studio in Limburg, Belgium, which looks at the implicit branding, interior, as well as restoration. These projects are suitable to the proposal scope, but please know that these may change should better examples come to fruition. The research strategy. With respect to the MA project, it is imperative to remember that this project's core does not aim to create new knowledge, but make use of existing extensive literature on the topic and subtopic selected, otherwise known as practice-based research. Understanding the correlation between the 3 topics and the nature of each, strength, weakness, similarities, and differences, will allow for a comparison tabulation on how and what each topic may contribute. Drawing on the contribution of each topic can optimally make to the overall project, as well as how each topic interrelates will inform the outcome in InDesign solution. With regards to primary research, apart from being an excellent tool for secondary research purposes, case studies also allow for the identification of other projects which emulate what the MA project is trying to achieve. Having a point of reference in order to further understand the design thinking behind achieving a desired outcome is useful when trying to understand how to achieve similar outcomes. As the project looks at interdisciplinary collaboration, making use of new and existing contacts and networks as assets to further develop the design solution seems most fitting. Conducting interviews and consulting with other professionals and practitioners in the field to broaden knowledge gained from textbook smarts to street smarts ultimately aids in the transition from theory to practice. Furthermore, observing the professional in the relevant field visually documents the behind the scenes. In terms of the outcome and presentation, in terms of written, the project proposal and formulating and refining of the proposal topic and related proposal questions. There will be secondary research, which is the documentation and format writing. This will include literature review, compilation of knowledge from the variety of knowledge resources, the methodology exploration in relation to primary research that will be conducted, a scout out of collaborative partners, and the identification of sites suitable. In terms of primary research, it will include the analyzing of how methodology can merge into practical information and development model, the determination of the format and method of data recovery, complete with all relevant and related documentation, ethical clearance if required, the execution of the methodology decided upon for data collection and analysis, possible interview, trial, and observation, and site survey and initial dimensions. In terms of the thesis itself, it will contain all secondary and primary research findings and outlooks from a theoretical perspective. From a practical, the visual components and concept development around the refined proposal topic question will include the concept and design thinking process layout in the form of thumbnails and Photoshop renders, project board layout hosting the project's progression from design thinking to final renders, the technical documentation, a sample and material board, as well as a budget estimate. When looking at the audience and users for this project, business owners and startup companies, as well as retail owners, corporate owners, commercial owners, hospitality owners will be considered. A variety of design professionals, graphic design, marketing consultants, interior designs, architects and contractors. However, literary exploration into client and project profiling will shed light on the refinement of these. In terms of the project client, leading corporates, the concept of an in-house expansion and expanding business portfolios in a lucrative low-risk format is appealing.